Hey guys, it is me. We are getting ready to do a quick lesson on rational functions, solving rational functions. In this case, it is going to be we are solving for x, and our equation or our function involves some division terms and variables on both sides and all of what things. There are two ways to solve this. We can solve it calculator, what we call calculator inactive, which means basically by hand. And then there's also, you can use the calculator active, which is DESMOS. I'm going to be showing both of you this way, and so let's get started. Okay, so let's get going. We are going to be what we call cross multiplying, and it is literally, I'm going to actually use a highlighter because my picture's a little slower, so I'm going to actually use a highlighter here. But it is where we are multiplying those terms together and those terms together, okay? What that does is take care of the problem of the common denominator. Now, when I'm going through this, I'm going to be going a little, what may seem quick, but remember that if your student is watching this video, they have probably been familiar with all the in-between steps that I'm getting ready to do, okay? So while I'm going to do them and talk about them, I'm not teaching those concepts right this second. So I am going to write this multiplication. I can write in any order, and I want my constant, my 2, to be out by itself. So I'm going to actually write those factors first times x minus 1, and then I'm going to do x times x plus 5. Okay, so those are all my factors I'm taking care of, and I'm going to just start condensing this and prettying it up. So I'm going to first multiply my binomials right here, and I'm going to get x squared. Negative 1x plus 5x is going to give me positive 4x. And then positive 5 times negative 1 is going to give me negative 5, okay? Now, I've done a whole nother video on multiplying binomials like we just did here, so you are more than welcome to go watch that. I'm going to distribute this x to both of these terms. So x times x is x squared, and x times 5 is 5x. Okay, I'm still not finished condensing over here. I have to distribute that too. So I'm going to have 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times 4x is 8x, and then 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. All right, so at this point, I am finished, I guess, organizing everything, multiplying everything together. So now I'm going to start solving for x, okay? My side has to be equal to 0, okay? So I am going to actually subtract x squared and 5x from this side because that's going to give me 0, and I have to subtract them from the same terms over here, okay? So x squared has to be minus from x squared. X's have to be subtracted together. This is going to cancel out, giving me 0. Everything canceled out, so I have 0. 2x squared minus 1x squared is x squared. 8 minus 5 is positive 3x, and then negative 10, there's nothing changing with that, so I have negative 10. Okay, at this point, I have cross multiplied, then I am just working towards solving for x. I have a polynomial, a trinomial. I have to factor that out, okay? So again, I will explain more how to do that in another video. That is not the aim or the purpose of this video, okay? This video is talking about solving for rational functions. I will do another video on how to factor these, but for right now, I'm just going to factor them, okay? So we have x, my two factors I'm going to use are negative 5 and positive 2. So we're going to have x minus 5 and x plus 2. I'm sorry, x plus 5. My dogs are going crazy out there. I apologize. And x minus 2 equals 0. If you heard me hesitating, that is because I was like, wait a second. I have pit bulls running literally outside my window right now, my door, and it's driving me insane. Okay, so now that we have these factored, and I had the plus 5 because when I add positive 5x and negative 2x, I'm going to get positive 3x. So that's how I knew I had to do that. In order for these things, the zero property says that in order for these two factors to equal 0, one of these, because the rule is anything multiplied by 0 is 0, so one of these factors has to equal to 0, okay? So we're going to set both of these equal to 0. X plus 5 equals 0, or, I always say and or because it could actually be both. So that's how I teach my students to do it. And or x minus 2 equals 0, because both of those could be equal to 0 or just 1. Okay, so we're solving for x. So I'm going to take 5 away from this, and I'm going to have x equals, because I'm going to take 5 away from here, negative 5. My other root is x. I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and I'm going to have x equals 2. Now, we have two answers, and if you look up here, all right, it looks like those two could be my choices, negative 5 or 2, negative 5 or 2. However, we have to go back up here and look at the problem. So when you are dividing, your denominator cannot equal 0. That's not possible. You cannot divide 10 pieces of candy by 0 people, okay? Because at least one person has to be holding the candy, right? You cannot divide by 0. Not possible. So if I were to plug in, when I look at this problem, this gets the confusing part. Most kids are okay here. This is where it gets confusing. If I look at my problem up here and I had x minus 1, I'm just going to look at the left side where I have x plus 5, okay? If negative 5 were my answer, then I would be saying x minus 1 over negative 5 plus 5. If I did that, negative 5 plus 5 is 0, and that's not possible, okay? Can you guys see that? I think so, yeah. All right, so you also, part of solving for rational equations is you have to, or even quadratics, you have to think about what makes sense, okay? So you might get this answer, and if both of them doesn't make sense or can't happen, then it's not an answer choice, even if you were able to solve for it, okay? So I'm going to say that again. When I did all of this, I got x equals negative 5 or x equals 2. If students didn't know and they thought they were done, they would stop right there. Okay? But then they have to look at the problem. And if negative 5 is not an answer choice, because if I plugged negative 5 in, I would get 0, which is not possible. So B is my answer. Okay? So that is how you cross multiply and you solve it by hand. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to solve it by DESMOS. Okay, guys, that took so long, and that's about, it's math takes long, okay? So I'm actually going to do the DESMOS on another quick video after this, okay? So that was how to do it by hand, rational functions. Stay tuned. I'm going to do another video really quickly on how to do it on DESMOS, and that way I'm not trying to squeeze it in like a minute and a half, okay? Thanks.